Hey everyone, welcome back to another video by Simplilearn. In this session, we will learn about friend functions in C++. So let's go ahead and have a look at what we'll be covering today. In this session, we will cover topics like why do we need a friend function, what is a friend function in C++, then the declaration of friend function, and after that, we will learn what is a friend class, then we will understand features of friend function and its advantages. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. So first is, why do we need a friend function? Friend functions are used when we want to access the private or protected members of the class, but without the help of the objects. It helps us in avoiding the case where the functions must be a member of both the classes in order to access them. Or, in other words, a function doesn't have to be a member of both the classes in order to access the class data. A friend function is also used to perform operator overloading. Like functions, operators can also be overloaded, and because of the friend function, it is possible. Now, let's understand what is a friend function. A friend function is not a member function of the class, and it is defined outside the class. And we know outside members cannot access the class data, but the friend function can access those private, public, and protected class data, because the friend function is friendly with the class. Now let's move to declaration of friend function. The declaration of friend function must be done inside the class. The friend function is declared using the friend keyword, then the return type, then the name of the function that is made a friend of the class. Its definition is done outside the class, and we don't use the friend keyword while defining it. But while declaring it inside the class, we use the friend keyword. Now, coming to the next topic, that is, what is a friend class? Exactly like a friend function, a class can also be a friend of another class. A friend class is that class that can access the data members and member functions of a class to which it is a friend. We need to pass the objects of the class to a member function of the friend class if we want to access those private and protected members. Also, if the classes are declared friends, then all the member functions of the class will be a friend function to the friend class. Now, let's have a look at the syntax. Here we have done the forward declaration of class table. This will allow the access of the objects of the class table in the class club. Inside the class club, we have declared friend class table. That means the class table is a friend of class club, and it can access members of that class. After that, we have defined the class table without the friend keyword, as we can see. Now, coming to features of friend function. So here are some features of friend functions. So let's start with the first one, that is, a friend function can be easily invoked just like a normal function. It doesn't require any object or so to invoke. Next is, the scope of a friend function is not limited. It can be a member of another class as well. Third is, a friend function can be declared in any part, that is private, protected, or public parts of the class. Fourth is, the object of the class can be used as an argument for the function. And the last is, a friend function can access the members by using the object name and dot operator along with the member's name. Now, coming to advantages of friend function. The first advantage is, with the help of friend function, we are able to access the non-public members of the class, that is, the private members. The second advantage is, friend function helps in operator overloading. And the third advantage is, because of the friend function, we are able to share the private information by a non-member function, as friend function is not a member function. And the last advantage is, friend function allows us to generate more efficient code. So these were some advantages of friend function. So now let's go ahead and do some examples on friend functions to understand it in a better way. So let's open our Visual Studio Code and do some examples. So first of all, let's make a new file. Let's name it friend1.cpp. Alright. So now here we'll do a simple program of friend function. So let's start with including the header file #include iostream. Now we will write using namespace standard Alright, and inside the main function, first of all we will create an object of a class. Let's say the name of the class is salary and the name of the object is S. Alright, after that we will simply write return 0, and we will do the rest of this after creating the class. So we need to first create the class. Now we'll write class salary, which is the name of the class, and inside this class first of all we'll write private access modifier, and here we will write or declare a variable named sal. After that, now we will write or declare the friend function. So we know how to declare a friend function. We'll write friend keyword, then the return type, that is int, and then the name of the function, let's say increment, and then the objects. As we know, we have to pass the name of the class with the object because we want to access the private member of the class. So salary S, which is the object, and after the class we'll write the semicolon. Now we have to create or define this increment friend function. We'll write int increment. Here we haven't used the friend keyword because this is the definition. Now inside the arguments we'll pass the object. Alright, now inside the main function we will call this friend function. So first of all we will display a message saying that increment is, that the increment in the salary is, and then we will call this function and we will pass this object. Alright, now inside this increment function, which is a friend function, we will use object s dot operator and then the name of the variable, which is private. Now all we need to do is to increment this salary variable. So we'll write s dot sal plus 7000, which is the increment, and then we will return s dot sal. Alright, now as we can see, this increment function, which is not a member function of this class, is accessing this private variable of salary class and is incrementing 7000 to the salary. So now let's save it first and let's try to run this. There is some error. Let's have a look at that. Alright, yeah, there is some spelling mistake, increment. Now let's save it and run it. So as we can see, increment is 7000. So this is the correct output. So this was a simple example of friend function. Let's do another example. So here we will do an example of friend class, and we know friend class is a class that can access the data members and member functions of a class to which it is a friend. So let's start. First of all, we'll include the header files, hash include iostream, and then the namespace standard. And we forgot to name this file, so let's do it. Let's name it friend2.cpp. Alright, now let's proceed. Int main. Inside the main function, first of all we will create an object of a class. Let's say the class name is num2 and its object is obj2, object2. Now for now, let's say we'll write only return 0. We'll do this part later onwards. Now let's create the class. Alright, so the class name would be num2, num1 actually, but we know in friend class we have to do the forward declaration. So we will write class num2. So this is a forward declaration of class num2. Now inside class num1, first of all we'll declare a variable in private. So let's say the name of the variable is int n1. Int is the data type, n1 is the name of the variable. Now we have to do the declaration of friend class. So we'll write friend keyword, after that class num2, which is the name of the class. Alright, after this let's create this. First of all we have to put the semicolon. Alright, now let's write this class num2. So this is our friend class num2. we haven't used friend keyword over here, as we can see. Alright, in this class we'll use the private access specifier, and we'll create another variable n2, and then we will write the public access specifier, and we will create a constructor of num2, as this is the name of the class and this is object we have created. So now we will create the constructor of this class num2, and now in this constructor we will initialize n2 with 65 or whatsoever number we want, because in the end we have to find the average of two variables. So this is the second variable n2, and we have assigned the value 65. So now let's make the function of average, because we want to find the average of both the numbers. So int is the data type, avg is the name of the function, let's say, and inside this function we will make an object of num1 class, and the object name is obj1. Now as we have created the object, by mistake we have wrote I obj1. So as we have created the object of num1 class, so its constructor would be invoked, which we will create now. But first of all, here we will write return the average. So we'll write obj1 dot n1 plus n2 divided by 2. So as we know that obj1 is the object of num1 class, so that is why we have used obj1 dot operator n1, that is the name of the variable, plus n2 divided by 2. From here we can find the average, and before that we have to create the constructor of this class. So now all we need to do is write public access modifier, now num1, and inside this num1 we will assign the value to n1 variable, which is, let's say, 11. Alright, so now in the main function we have to call this function avj, that is the average function, and we forgot to put semicolon over here. Alright, now we'll display a message average is, and now we will call the function obj2 dot avg, which is a function. So here we are calling this function. So let's save this. So we have saved this. Now let's try to run this one. As you can see, the average is 38. So 65 plus 11, 6, and 76 divided by 2, which is 38. So this is the correct output. So this is a fine example of friend class. As we know, class num2 is a friend of class num1, so it can access all the members of class num1. In class num2 we have created the function avg over here. This is the function avg. Here we are doing the average of both the numbers, and as class num2 is a friend of num1, so we can create objects of num1 in num2 class. And after doing this, this is our output, that is average is 38. So this is an example of friend class. Now let's do another example. So here we will do an example of friend function, in which a friend function is a friend to two classes, and this would be an example in which we have to do the product of two numbers. So let's start. First of all, let's include the header files as we have done previously. iostream namespace standard. Now let's save it, friend3.cpp, and spelling is wrong. Now let's start with the main function. Inside the int main, first of all we will create the object of class A, that is A, and class B object would be small b, and we will use these objects to call the functions, but we will do that part later onwards. First of all, we'll simply write return 0 over here, and now we will create the classes. Alright, so here we will create a class, but before that we have to do the forward declaration of another class. So this is the forward declaration of class B, and now we can create the class A, and inside the A class we will declare the variable x, let's say. Now we will use this public scope and we will create a function within this class. Let's say void assign. Now inside this function we will pass the variable I because we have to assign the value of this variable I to the variable x. So we will assign the value of I to x like this, and before that we have to do the calling from the main function. So we will do that later. First of all, we will create the friend function, and here we are declaring this friend function. Void is the return type, product, let's say, is the name of this friend function, and a comma b are the arguments. Now let's call this assign function first of all. So all we need to do is we will make a call from this main function a dot assign, which is the name of the function, and let's say we have passed the value 45. Now here we will create the class b. Inside the b class we'll similarly create another variable y, and now inside the public scope we will create function of the same name, that is assign. Now in this assign function we will pass I as the argument, as we have done in class A. Similarly we'll do it over here. We will assign the value of I to this variable y. Once we have done this, then we will declare friend function. As we know that the friend function is friend of both of these classes, so we have to do it inside both of these classes. We have to declare the friend function, and now we will declare the friend function in this class as well, product. Alright, after the class we will use the semicolon. Now we will create the friend function. So here we are defining the friend function. We use void product, which is the name of the function. Now data type object name. Alright, now all we need to do is we'll do the sum a dot x into b dot y, and now we'll use semicolon. So here a dot x will hold the value which have been assigned, that is 45, and now b dot x, b dot y will hold the value which we will call from here, b dot assign. Here we are calling and we are assigning the value, let's say 20. We are passing the value 20, and this 20 value will be assigned to this y, and 45 into 20 would be the product. So everything is done. Now all we need to do is to call the product function, and as we know that the product function, that is the friend function, is the friend of both of the classes, so it can access the private variables. So we'll do that, product a comma b. Here we are calling this. Now let's save this one and let's try to run this. There are some errors, let's check them. Class A, alright, so we forgot to make some space over here. Now let's save it again and let's try to run this. As we can see, the output is 900. So 45 into 20 is equal to 900, which is the correct answer, and it means the program is working fine. So this is a fine example in which a function, that is this product function, is a friend of both the classes, that is class B and this class A. Here we have done the forward declaration and we have made the friend of class A, and here we have declared the friend function in class B. And as we can see that this product function can use or access the private variables of both the classes, and so this is by using the private variables we have done the product of both of these numbers, and its answer is 900. So these were some few examples of friend functions. You can try some more examples on it. It will enhance your knowledge in C++ as it is an interesting topic. Alright guys, with that we have come to the end of this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I hope it really helped you all. Thanks for watching, stay safe and keep learning.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.